Hello again. For the non-dual lectionary this week, we are up to the sixth Sunday of Easter in year C. I think what we've got today, a short passage, but we really see Jesus as non-dual teacher here. Um, so let's take a look and start exploring that. So the gospel reading is John chapter 14, verses 23 to 29. And there's questions, but leaving that aside, this passage begins with Jesus answered him, "Those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words, and the word that you hear is not mine, but is from the Father who sent me. I have said these things to you while I am still with you, but the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have said to you. Peace leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. You heard me say to you, I am going away, and I am coming to you. If you loved me, you would rejoice that I am going to the Father, because the Father is greater than I. And now I have told you this before it occurs, so that when it does occur, you may believe. So, as I said, I think what we see here is Jesus' teacher, um, and particularly guru, wisdom teacher, spiritual teacher, enlightenment teacher, awakening teacher. Because this isn't there. There's some things to do, I guess, a little bit, but it's really kind of the I mean, a couple things I want to say. So at the top here in particular, um, there's a little bit of that back and forth again, that interpenetrating, that kind of, if you stop and think about it, if you really try to make it make sense mentally, those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. And the word you hear is not mine, but it's from the Father who sent me. Yeah, you can stop and say, okay, what Jesus is saying is Jesus is the second person of the Trinity, and he and the Father, and okay, but no. That's the doctrine that's built up around it. That's what you can do it. You can make a mental castle out of all this, but just stop and sync with the words for a moment. Those first couple lines, those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, right? And so again, my Father, the intimate God within, right? The intimate God within and without that surrounds all. And God here not being a person in the sky, but the, you know, uh, true nature inside and out. Those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words, and the word that you hear is not mine, but is from the Father who sent me. So again, just if we let that wash over, if we let that sink, if we sink into the words ourselves, make our home with them, right? So Jesus speaking as the big I, right? Not as the small self, but as his true self, which is in union with um, not two, not one with reality. Um, but speaking, through that manifestation of him as himself, we'll come to them and make our home with them, right? That this it's light coming home. It's like um, just like I just said, sink into the words, right? Like have this all sink in as just landing, as just relaxing, as just living there. Um, And again, I think the second paragraph here is much the same things again, but also some kind of hints. The first one I think is kind of saying like, hey, if you can hear this, you get it, and if you can't hear it, okay. Right? So that first part is right, like those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them. Right? There's a little bit of that. Let those who hear with ears hear, because hey, I'm not sure everybody gets this, but let me kind of lay it out again in this a little cryptic. That the words aren't important. Listen to what's beyond the words. But then the second part, okay, and if you don't hear this, let me point. Let me be the teacher that points beyond myself, right? And that's what you get in the last part of that first paragraph too, right? Every great guru, every great teacher that I've ever met, they never say worship me, right? They never say you can get this from me, my small self, right? There is a me there, but it's, hey, the bigger self, like it's all about the awakening. It's all about the your realization of your true nature, at least when they're in the teacher role. And so, where does that come from? Yeah, it can come through me, but it can come through everything because everything is there, right? The word that you hear is not mine, but it's from the Father who sent me. But okay, then now we're going to point, right? The advocate, I've said these things now, but it's not about me, right? It's not about clinging to me. It can't be about the small me. The advocate, right? The Holy Spirit, in the language of Jesus at the time, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I've said to you, right? Reality is going to continue. The challenges are going to continue. The teachings will continue even when the teacher is not there. I do not give to you as the world gives. And that's where, everything there, I think that unlocks the key to everything in this paragraph, then, right? The pointing at something to come, but not as something to come because then, right, I'm not the thing to grab onto, but that'll be the thing to grab onto, but nothing's the thing to be grab onto. And it's really a point past himself, right? A point to like, if you think it's me, there's something coming later. I am going away and I am coming to you. And if you loved me, you would rejoice that I'm going to the Father, right? Again, it's not about me, right? So again, I think we've got Jesus's teacher here and awakening teacher again, right? So the first one is kind of like, hey, if you can hear this right now, right? Or if you've already heard it in a way, boom, like it's right now. There's nothing to miss. We'll make our home with you right now. But okay, if you can't hear it, I've said these things while I'm still here, but there's more to come. The teaching doesn't end. Um, I don't give to you as the world gives, right? It's not like here it is, and now you can grab onto it. I'm going away and I'm coming to you. So yeah, again, again, I think what we've got here is it's reminiscent of some of the Zen stories, right? Or some things you read out of India with teachers, not in this language at all, right? Because again, Jesus is speaking in a different time and in the context of the Hebrew scriptures, and so his experience and the language he gives to that experience is primarily through the idea of the Father, right? And then the Holy Spirit to come. But if we kind of drop all that we've built, all the doctrine we've built up around that, and instead listen to the words, new again. Wow, that would fit right in a as a series of koans to just make your mind stop and see what comes next, right? What appears. Um, yeah, I mean, as much of a wisdom teaching as you're going to find anywhere, and fundamentally, again, why does it sound so reminiscent of those teachers? Why does it sound the same? Not the same words, right? But the evoking the same thing because fundamentally all of them, what are they talking? They're talking about just what is.